I've been on Fox News for almost 10 years now. You think it's easier for me to not be like, I'm MAGA?
Totally. Yeah, like you would get more points that way.
I would get more points. I would sell more books.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I do very well. I mean, and people at the Fox audience, they do come out to my shows, and I do sell out shows, but
Sure.
I'd be selling out more shows, and I'd be selling them out faster. My venues would be bigger.
Absolutely.
Because I'm getting on this platform every day, knowing that the people watching have a certain point of view by and large.
Right.
And then I am at times, depending on what the topic is, disagreeing with what that's going to be.
Knowingly.
Yeah. And then my favorite, and I read about this, I am accused of being a secret liberal because they can't just, fathom that I'm liberal on some things and other things I'm not liberal on.
Which
I would be trying to hard and hide it.
It blows my mind because like, it's crazy to me that that's not just the normal thing. Like that's how you should be.
Right.
You should be liberal on some things, conservative on some things. Like,
yeah.
Because if you actually go through and look at your principles, your values, and then the issue itself, you should be coming up with different conclusions than other people. The problem is most people don't want to think about it at all. They just want to adopt a party perspective so that they can just say like, that's what I believe. Like, oh, what do we believe about that? Oh, that's what we believe about it. Yeah, that's what I believe about it. And it's like, wait, but you didn't actually think through any of that for yourself. You didn't come to that belief or that conclusion because of like any research or any evidence. You only did it because that person said that that's the belief that you have because you're in that party.
Exactly.
That's way more wild than being somebody who's like, I'm a little bit liberal here. I'm a little bit conservative here. I tend to lean a little bit more left on these issues. I tend to lean a little bit more right on these issues. Like that's called nuance, and that's called being a fucking person.
Yeah. Or even the same issue where it's a great example is I'm a huge free speech absolutist. Huge, don't want the government involved at all in our speech. And that will mean one side or the other will really love me or really hate me depending on what the speech is.
And they'll switch it.
They switch.
Every like 8 years. It's like, well, Trump said this thing and that makes you, like you've been doing the same thing for 10 years and saying the same thing about a certain issue for 10 years. And then all of a sudden, Trump stops saying it and Kamala starts saying it. And then for some reason they're pointing the finger at you, and it's like you guys are the ones switching.
Totally,
I was the same on this the whole time.
Yeah, conservatives were really good on free speech for a hot second, and then it's for just one example. Trump was saying that you should go to jail for a year if you burn a flag, which that's a very, very clearly constitutional. He said you're an idiot or you're stupid if you think it's constitutionally protected, but. Okay. It's very important to protect political speech like that, where you can protest your government. That's the whole point of the First Amendment.
Absolutely.
So then I say something like that, and then it's okay. Not just we have a different idea. It's like you hate this country.
Right.
It's like, oh my.
Right.
And it's easier, like you said, to be like, okay, you're a warrior for the country, and I'm a hater for. But again, and I don't also get points from the other side. Either. I mean, there's people, still, regardless of what I say on Fox News, the fact that I work there, it's enough for people to be like, not everybody, obviously.
Sure. Yeah.
Not a lot of,
But some people will do it like secretly.
Yeah.
They'll be like your friend.
Yeah.
But then they won't tell anybody that you're their friend.
Yes. No, I read about that multiple times. That happened multiple times. And I was like, realized, we don't have any pictures together. Oh, that was by design. This person doesn't want any evidence of hanging out with me.
We don't have any pictures together. That's such a funny thing to like recognize after you've been hanging out with somebody for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like your friend and then they break up with them or whatever. You just don't see him around for a while.
Yeah. So that was my friend, one of my very good friends. this person's been my friend for 14 years now. Yeah. And she was in a relationship for 8 years with this person. And so this person is a director, actually, like a big director. And we'd all hang out all the time. Hollywood guy. Yeah. We all hang out all the time. And like this dude loved me. He'd come see me do stand up. He'd be laughing the loudest. This was my homie, this guy. Yeah. My wedding only had 30 people. It was a COVID wedding. A lot of my close friends didn't come. Nobody had a +1. And I invited both of them. And they broke up not too long ago. And she told me, he would not send pictures to her that he'd taken of the two of us because he was worried she would post them. And then he would maybe lose work because his girl was in a picture with me. And I'm like,
because the girl I'm dating and I have a friend who happens to work at Fox.
Correct.
In addition to the other things that she does. Like,
right.
It's not even like you are like Fox born and bred and made and like, you do so many other things.
I do so many other things.
Like it's
and also
so crazy.
Fox gives me a platform to say what I believe.
Sure.
And
in a helpful way, because like actually, I think this is a point that you brought up in the book. Maybe it was on an interview that you did, but the question is like, why is this bad? Like, why would you rather it be like Gutfeld filled with 4 or 5 other completely hardcore conservative people?
Yeah.
Like I'm like,
I did bring that up
to somebody
in the book.
on the left. It's like, what, like if you're having that conversation with them, it's like, you want people like me on Fox,
right?
To offer a different perspective, because this person who only ever digests and watches Fox News because it's the conservative news network and they're conservative would never hear anything contradictory to anything that they believe if it weren't for like people like me getting on that network and them allowing me to speak my mind about it.
Yeah.
Like, would you rather that? Like,
and I bring that up. I'm like, then your
that?
grandparents leave it on all day would really never hear from, and it's Fox News is not an idea in itself. It's a platform on which to share ideas. And also the thing is, I am constantly calling out and saying how horrible it is. I also do have friends, obviously, I don't know if it's obvious, but working there, who are MAGA people, you know, and they're great people. And I love these people and they love Trump. They just love the guy. And that is one aspect of these people.
Right.
And I am it's so out of control where, again, I said I watch reality TV and also it's worse than that. I'm even somebody who like is on the subreddits for these reality TV. Like I'm in deep actually, but I will see this where they'll find someone who was a contestant on The Bachelor, liked a tweet from Ben Shapiro, just for example, like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then that person's done and anybody who still associates with that person's done. And it's just like, I'm constantly standing up for people who are in that situation where it's like, this is one aspect of a person, but then they'll turn on me. Of course. I don't get that. I have no allies, basically is what I'm saying. Right. But that's why people are attracted to this, because they do have allies.
But you know, what's interesting is I've said that to a lot of people is I feel like I don't belong to a group because I just have my own thoughts and opinions, which imagine that. And you said something in the book too that was like binary thinking is the enemy of critical thinking. Yeah. Which is exactly accurate, you know, because
pick a side, thinking's done.
Right. It's not actual thinking. It's not thinking. It's just accepting. You can't even really call it thinking. You're just accepting wholesale what people tell you to believe. That's not thinking for yourself. But so I tend to be in that same boat where it's like I piss a lot of people off on both sides, and then I also agree with people on both sides. But you said something in the book too that I'd never really thought about, which I appreciate you bringing up. You said something like it's worth like not feeling like I have people that are on my side is worth the it's worth giving that up so that I can have great relationships with people who are on both sides. Yeah. And I was like, that is exactly how I feel about it. I never really thought about it that way, but that's the truth. It's like some of my best friends are like people who I met who, if you would have told me that they would be friends of mine like a decade ago when I was like fundamentalist Baptist guy, you know, I'd be like, man, shit went sideways for me, except I wouldn't have said shit, you know? Exactly. So, but like, I would have been like disappointed in my future self for hanging out with that person. Yeah. Because when I met them, they were extremely liberal or whatever, but they're such good people and they're like my people and they're like friends who I love with all my heart and they love me. You know what I mean? It's like, I would never have the opportunity to have those types of sharpening friendships and relationships, people who challenge me, people who make me better, if I didn't also open myself up to criticism from both sides. Yeah. Which I thought was a very, very good point. Yeah. I appreciate you bringing that up.